Now, before I give you tips for multiple choice, let's have a look at the question that we're going to practice today. Here is the question. We've got questions 4 to 6. So that's 3 questions together. We've got what 3 items are recommended to take with you? That's our question. And we have a list of possible answers. We have A, camera, B, food and drink, C, mosquito repellent, D, walking boots, E, sunscreen, F, a large bag, G, cash, and H, extra clothes. And from those options we need to choose 3 answers. So let's start with tip number 1. The first tip is a simple tip. Look for a title. Not all questions have titles, but if you see one, please pay attention. The title will give you the context, the situation, and that will help you to understand the listening more, it will help you to understand the question more clearly, and of course, the answers. And for this question, our title is A Rainforest Excursion. And an excursion means a trip. So this is a trip into a rainforest. So it's a visit to a rainforest. And now we understand that the 3 items that are recommended for a rainforest trip. Tip number 2, read the question. You need to pay close attention to the question. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to underline the number 3. Because we're looking for 3 answers, we don't want to forget that. So underline it so you don't get confused. The next thing is to find a keyword. There will be a keyword in the question that will help you to identify which answers are correct and which answers are wrong. And in this question, the keyword is recommended. So what is recommended for you to take with you into the rainforest? You need to listen for 3 things that you should take with you into the rainforest. This will also help us to understand the trap that IELTS will give you, because IELTS will probably talk about many different things. Some things that you should take with you into the rainforest and things you shouldn't take with you into the rainforest. And that is to confuse you. So what you need to do is pay attention, what is the key word, and listen for that information. The third tip is paraphrase. This is a very important tip for many IELTS questions. And paraphrase means to find another word with the same meaning. So the more paraphrasing that you can do, the better your IELTS will be. So we already looked for tip number 2 at the word recommended. And that means for tip number 3, we need to paraphrase recommended. You're not going to hear in the test, I recommend you should take with you. It's not so easy. IELTS want to test your English language. IELTS want to test your vocabulary. So how many ways do you know to say recommended or should? And how many ways do you know to say I don't recommend or you shouldn't? So the more paraphrasing you do, the better your results will be and the easier it will be to hear the right answer. For the 4th tip, it is time to read the options. You need to go through all the possible answers and read through them before you listen. All the options will probably be given. It is very normal in IELTS that you will hear all those words in the recording. But you need to focus because we're only looking for the items that we should take and not for any other items. So that means that when you hear something the first time, for example, food and drink, it doesn't mean that's the answer. You need to listen carefully to understand, is it recommended to take food and drink, or is it not recommended to take food and drink? Listen carefully. Listen to everything. Pay very close attention. If you think it's the right answer, put a little tick and continue listening, because maybe you will find that really that wasn't actually one of the answers. And of course, it's fine to put a tick. You can write all over your listening paper if you want, because at the end of the listening, you have time to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. So it's no problem to underline words and to put ticks and to circle options. You can do whatever you want with your paper. So basically, tip number 4 is pay attention, keep listening. Don't think that the first option is your answer, because all these options will be mentioned in the listening, but you need to listen for the 3 recommended items. And the last tip. The last tip is all about a common trap that IELTS like to give in their listening test. And this is a trap that really tests your ability to concentrate and listen for detail. So tip number 5 is watch out for answers that are correct, but then the speaker takes them away again. Let me give you an example so you can understand. Now, we're listening for 3 items that are recommended to take with us into the rainforest. So something we should take. Now, let's take this for an example. Imagine that the speaker says, usually we recommend that you should take a large bag with you into the rainforest. But there's no need because we will be bringing supplies with us. So what happens is, in that sentence, the first part of the sentence says, yes, you should take a large bag with you. But the second part of the sentence says, actually, you don't need to take a large bag because we have a vehicle and we will take everything for you, so you don't need the large bag. So that's a common way that IELTS try to trap you. So when you're listening and you hear the words, you should take a large bag, you can put a tick, but keep listening. And if the sentence changes and says, but actually you don't need to, put a little cross through. And that way you know that you need to keep listening for more answers.